Why this fear is so gripping? It is because we could say that individuality, it's all we know. So if we want to speak about individuality and my story versus someone else's story, that's all we know. That's the entire world. That's the entire creation. That's everything. So therefore this fear is legitimate, and it is healthy to acknowledge this. It's good to be brave and courageous. It is required as well. But acknowledging that has its own strength, because acknowledging this fear allows the deeper investigation to where that fear stems from. Therefore, it's good to remember that contemplation on the theme of death is an inseparable part of all traditions. The contemplation on the theme of death is not a morbid affair. In fact, unless we are capable of fully diving and delving into the aspect of our mortality as the body, we can never truly live. It's a paradox. Embracing the fact that this body is a transient affair, that's what positions us to appreciate every moment of this existence, not the other way around. Because there's a danger that we always live in advance. There's a danger that we always live as if preparing for something to happen. It's a very human tendency, by the way. One day I will. One day I will write that song. One day I will do that painting. One day I will love really from my heart. One day. I'm coming close to it, but not just yet. I'd like to save myself here just a little bit longer. I'm not yet ready. I'm not thin enough. Or I'm not fat enough. Or I'm not strong enough. Or I'm not weak enough. This not enough, that not enough. Saving, constantly saving for the later. That is because there is a lack of understanding of simple fact that nothing lasts forever. Everything is a transient affair here. And again, it is the experience that becomes the teacher. When we learn, unfortunately or fortunately, bitter lessons, and no longer willing to save, no longer willing to save an iota, no longer willing to waste an iota of time. We want to live now, in that moment. But that can only happen if we truly delve into the nature of death, what death is. Death is nothing other than life itself. Life and death are in a perpetual embrace. This is on the level of course, human psyche. The essence of our being was never born and can never die. It's not something that comes and goes. And we need to learn to trust that. We need to learn to rest in that. Rest in that, in the full capacity of our being. When that becomes our second nature, there is no fear. It's the end of fear. Until we are gripped by fear of death, there is no possibility for total freedom. Not that we become completely depreciative of this experience of being a human. On the contrary, the true appreciation of being in the body comes precisely from that wonder of existence, a sheer wonder how consciousness can actually be at once bound and unbound. Boundless yet within the boundaries. Boundless yet within the boundaries. Everything unfolds within this. Everything unfolds within this. The ebb and flow of every experience. Each time there is this boundless movement of expansion. It seeks to create boundaries anywhere. And soon as one is secured with boundaries, it seeks to break them. It seeks to go beyond the boundaries. It has this tendency. It has this tendency It's like the ceaseless desire to create. Ceaseless desire to create, and soon as something is created, there is a detachment from it. This is the nature of our divine essence. This is who we are. This is the Shivahood, the Godhood. It's that unstoppable power of self-expression to create. And soon as something is created, it's a total detachment from the form. Great artist never rests on the laurels. Great here means not famous, great artists. Some of them are not even, names of them are not known in history. They never rest on the laurels. The creative spirit is constantly in the next thing. It is detached from what it did, because soon as something is created, the spirit knows it is ashes. So within the boundaries of this psychological setup, we of course have a very, very clear idea of who we are, even if we are entirely confused. You see, this is never being examined. Seldom, I shouldn't say never. Seldom is being examined. How can that be possible, that on one hand I have a clear idea about myself, and yet I'm totally confused about it? Confused about many things. Anyway, And the reason why it feels so disconcerting when these boundaries begin to shake. Because these boundaries, it's all I know about myself. These boundaries, it's my temporal self. When these boundaries shake, the core of my being is shaken. So therefore, at times it can be very disconcerting. Therefore, acknowledging where it comes from, and this is where the courage is required. But the courage not as that blind courage, neither rooted in faith. Tantra and yoga do not work with faith. They do not operate on the level of faith. Clarity is required. Clarity.